Uh, RPG a day 2017, a day 11. Let's see what today's question is. Which dead game would you like to see reborn? Now, this made me think of a lot of different things. When it comes to dead games, usually the things that people kind of lament is a dead community, a dead kind of source of all sorts of nice little knickknacks and source books and all sorts of stuff like that. But when it comes to role-playing games, when you have the core book, that's really all you need. You just need the core book, you need some dice and some sheets of paper and pencils and whatnot, and you're good to go. You don't really, need a community in the same sort of sense that you need a community in like an online video game or something like that, where servers and such need to be updated and maintained and all that stuff. So and because I don't take part in a lot of these communities and I don't get myself too many source books or kind of like merchandise or anything like that. So it pretty much means that if I want to resurrect something that's a dead game, so to say, it's pretty much what do I want to see remade, where I would like to see a better, prettier product or an updated game. Of something I love that's dead at the moment. And the first thing that pops into my head and pops into most everyone's head when it comes to my channel is, of course, something I already have, which is my Werewolf the Apocalypse 20th Anniversary Deluxe Edition right here. And this is my precious baby. I don't ever use this. It just sits on my shelf, kind of like into this venerated state of something I just it's not a utility object. It's just an artifact kind of thing. But I have that. It has gloriously wonderful art in it. Every single thing I would ever want from its source books is neatly tied inside the same covers, and it's a perfect kind of deal. So basically how I approach this question is, what other dead game would I like to get the same sort of treatment? And that's kind of easy as well, because it's a game I've already talked about in this RPG a day thing, and that is Inquisitor Dark Ages, another one of my very favorite games. But as you can see how skinny this book is, there's a lot of things that really would need to be updated about this. It's a skinny book because this is not a standalone book. When you get this, you can't play it on its own. What you need is also the Vampire Dark Ages book, and I really dislike the way that White Wolf did this edition's Dark Ages stuff, where the core book for everything is the Dark Ages vampire game, and everything all the way from Werewolf Dark Ages to Inquisitor Dark Ages is an offshoot of this, whereas in the earlier editions it was like Vampire Dark Ages was an offshoot of Vampire the Masquerade, Werewolf the Dark Ages was an offshoot of Werewolf the Apocalypse, and so on and so forth. But with this edition, it was pretty much like this book is filled with points about, well, if you want more information about this, check the Vampire Dark Ages thing, check the Vampire Dark Ages thing for this, and that, and the other thing, So it's kind of, if you weren't interested in vampires at all, that would just suck that you would have to buy that one. So that's a big thing where it would require some updating. Another thing is that the interior art in this is kind of hit and miss. There's a lot of good stuff in here. There's some stuff that I really like when it comes to the imagery of the game and all the themes and dark stuff having to do with it. Like, for example, I really like this picture. There's some Knights of Acre there, Crusaders, and then there's stuff that I really like as well when it comes to this time period, especially, and personal preferences when it comes to art styles and such, because there's a lot of thought that's been put into this sort of thing. Oh, Shit, I just missed the spot. Sorry, there it is. This sort of stuff. I love this art style. This is the medieval art style when it was pretty much the earliest forms of print, when it's like wood carvings and such. Those are great, and they really like lend kind of an eye to this sort of a time period. But when you look at the orders, just look at that shit. That look like shit. You know, check that out. You know, oh, come on, man. Shit. So that needs definitely some updating. And the other thing is that there's only one source book for Inquisitor Dark Ages, and that's this. Just a companion book, and I'm really glad that at least, since there's only one companion book, only one source book for, I guess, a source book for in the terms of the vampire stuff, that it's not focused on like giving you more superpowers, giving you more alternate stat lines, giving you more this and that, more monsters and stuff, but it's instead just more information about the setting. Because like I showed how skinny the Inquisitor book is, that's what it really needs. And that's kind of what what I would like to have when it comes to reviving that game, is that the mechanics alone is like, that's enough. I can take those mechanics, I can take that setting info and just, you know, run with it and just create everything myself. But what I like about the Inquisitor Dark Ages game is a lot of the stories that are knit in the book. Like, for example, in the very beginning of the book, there's a flavor text. There's this long flavor text that's written in this kind of you know, in this handwriting style, and it's very nice. It's about this monk staying in the household of this horrible demonic kind of Dracula-like master of the house, with a torturer, goon, and all that stuff. And I love how this ends in this way, where the author gets yanked off of his writing desk mid-sentence, you know, kind of thing. So those are kind of like later discovered notes and stuff, you know, long after his death and stuff. So what I would like is more Inquisitor stories. I would love to like get to read vampire stories, demon stories, werewolf stories, stories about ghouls, stories about like devil worshipping cults, stories about all sorts of pagan stuff, stories about having to do something that's beyond the Inquisitor's understanding, about the Umbra and stuff like that. I would love to read just more fluff and flavor text about the Inquisitor setting and the world that it portrays. I would love to see more of that. But as it's now, it's pretty much like the product is kind of it could be a lot better. It definitely could be a lot better, but it's not like it's so terrible that it's excruciating that there's no revival yet. But if there ever would be a game, now that Werewolf has been revived, I'd love to see a revival of Inquisitor, though its fan base is not that large, so I'm not holding my breath for it. But yeah, one can always wish. One can always wish. So yeah, that's my answer, and see you tomorrow for day 12.